These are the things you realize the moment you buy an adventure motorcycle. Let's get into it. Number 1. The fantasy feels absolutely unreal. The day you roll it home, you are not a guy with a motorcycle. You are an explorer. You sit on this tall, rugged, go-anywhere machine with the big tank and the aluminum panniers and the knobby tires, and something happens in your brain. You're not in your driveway anymore. You're crossing Mongolia. You're on the Trans-America Trail. You're Ewan McGregor on the long way round, pointing the front wheel at the horizon and just disappearing into it. And the bike sells you that dream. It looks incredible. It towers over every other bike at the gas station. People look at it like you're about to ride to Patagonia after you finish pumping fuel. You've got the crash bars, the skid plate, maybe some auxiliary lights. You think, this is it. This is the only bike I will ever need. Pavement, gravel, mud, mountains, deserts. One machine does all of it. The vibes are immaculate. And then reality hits. And it hits harder than 550 pounds of motorcycle leaning past the point of no return. Number 2, you cannot actually touch the ground. Here's the thing nobody warns you about. You sit on it in the showroom, on flat, clean concrete, both feet sort of reaching, and you think, yeah, I've got this. Then you take it into the real world, and the real world is not flat, clean concrete. You pull up to a stop on a slight downhill. You put your foot down, and there's just nothing there. The ground is 6 inches lower than your brain expected. Now you're holding up a bike that weighs more than you do on the very tips of your toes, doing a little panic dance, praying you don't have to commit to either side. And the first time you stop on gravel, or sand, or a wet painted line, you find out exactly how physics feels when it stops being your friend. Because here's the deal, these big adventure bikes are tall. We're talking 33, 34, 35 inches of seat height, and they are heavy. Loaded up with fuel and luggage, plenty of them clear 600 pounds. And weight is fine when the bike is moving. Above walking speed, all that mass just disappears and the thing handles beautifully. But at 0 miles an hour, at a stop, on a hill, that weight wakes up and it wants to go to the ground. And it does not care about your dreams of Mongolia. You did not get a faulty bike. This is just what they are. You bought a machine engineered to be stable and comfortable at 70 miles an hour across a continent, and the price of that is that it's a handful in a parking lot. You can't cheat physics. A 600-pound bike was built for the open road, not for you to balance on your tiptoes outside a coffee shop. Number 3. It is a full-body workout and a portable furnace. The second thing you realize is that the marketing showed you a guy effortlessly carving through a scenic mountain trail, and what they did not show you is what that guy's heart rate looked like. The first time you take a big adventure bike onto anything genuinely technical, loose rocks, ruts, deep gravel, you discover you are not riding the motorcycle. You are wrestling it. You're standing on the pegs, fighting the bars, manhandling 600 pounds that desperately wants to do its own thing, and after about 20 minutes you are absolutely drenched. You feel less like an adventurer and more like you just did leg day with a refrigerator strapped to your back. And then there's the heat. In slow traffic on a hot day, a big displacement adventure engine turns into a personal space heater bolted between your knees. You're sitting at a red light in summer, fully geared up because you're a responsible rider, and your legs are slowly roasting like you're straddling a barbecue. The bigger the engine, the hotter the situation. It's just a lot of machine generating a lot of heat in a small space right where your body is. Now, to be fair, I'm not going to over-complain here because part of this is just what motorcycles are. They're hot, they're physical, that's the deal. But the adventure bike turns the dial up. It's bigger, taller, heavier, and hotter than you pictured, and you feel every pound and every degree of it the second the speedometer drops toward 0. Number 4. You paid for capability you will basically never use. Now we get to the part that quietly haunts every adventure bike owner. You bought this thing for its incredible go-anywhere ability. The deep suspension, the off-road modes, the ability to ford a river and climb a mountain, and then you look at your actual riding. Coffee shop, nice paved canyon road on Sunday, the occasional well-maintained gravel road that you ride very, very carefully because you remember how much the bike costs and how hard it is to pick up. The dirt crossing the Sahara capability you paid thousands of dollars for, it sits there, unused, like the most expensive feature on Earth. There's a running joke in the motorcycle world for exactly this reason, that the more capable and expensive the adventure bike, the less dirt it ever actually touches. All the gear never goes. And it's a joke because it's true. And here's the part that really gets you. If you're honest about what you actually do, mostly pavement, some light gravel, the dream of more, there's a whole class of bikes that does that better and for a fraction of the money. The lighter, simpler, smaller adventure bikes. The mid-size singles and twins that weigh a couple 100 pounds less, that you can actually flat foot, that you can pick up by yourself when you drop them, and that you will genuinely take down trails because you're not terrified of damaging 20 grand of German electronics. The little bike isn't as fast or as fancy, but who's doing a real off-road expedition in a way that needs 600 pounds of touring computer? If you actually want to play in the dirt, the lighter bike is the right tool, and it's cheaper and you'll ride it more. That's just facts. Number 5. You start wishing you'd bought something simpler. Once all of this sinks in, it doesn't really get easier, it just gets clearer. You start doing the math you should have done at the start. Because adventure bikes are stupidly expensive, and that's before the bottomless pit of Farkles, the panniers, the crash bars, the skid plate, the heated grips, the aux lights, the upgraded seat, the louder exhaust. Each one is just a few $100 until you add it all up and realize you've spent the price of a used car decorating a bike you ride to brunch. And the maintenance. The big premium adventure bikes are not cheap to keep. The services, the valve checks, the dealer labor, the specialized tires that wear out fast and cost a fortune to replace because they're trying to do 2 jobs at once. Every time the service bill lands, a little voice asks, "What exactly am I paying for here?" Honestly, I've rarely met someone who bought a giant adventure bike as their first big bike and felt zero regret. Almost everyone eventually starts eyeing something simpler, something lighter, something they don't have to think about, that doesn't intimidate them at a gas station, that just starts and goes and is fun without being a project. Because that's the thing, the dream never tells you. Capability and freedom aren't the same thing. A bike so big and heavy and expensive that you're nervous to take it where it's meant to go isn't really freedom. It's a beautiful, intimidating, very tall reminder of the trip you keep meaning to take. So, is an adventure motorcycle worth it for you? If you genuinely ride long distances, eat highway miles for breakfast, tour 2 up with luggage, and your off-road is mostly graded gravel and forest roads, then yes, a big adventure bike is one of the best machines ever built, and it'll do everything you ask brilliantly. That's what it was engineered for, and nothing does it better. But if your real dream is hardcore dirt, technical trails, and actually using the off-road capability you're paying for, be honest with yourself. Get the lighter, smaller, cheaper bike. You'll drop it without crying, pick it up without a hernia, and you'll actually ride the trails instead of admiring them from the road. And if what you really want is the look and the fantasy of going anywhere while mostly riding to the cafe, hey, no judgment. The vibes really are immaculate. Just know that's what you're buying before the service bill shows up. That's what you realize the moment you buy an adventure motorcycle. If this saved you a little money or a little back pain, you know what to do. take care, and I'll see you on the next one.